Hello and welcome to Archvelder's Hacks with Archvelder and his amazing hacks. This video is the World of Warcraft 9.2 Raw Gold Guide. Raw Gold in Shadowlands is significantly different from previous expansions in that Blizzard heavily nerfed most legacy Raw Gold making opportunities and instead amped up the rewards from world quests. This was balanced out at launch by the fact it was quite time consuming to reach the world quest locations and the limitations on eye level. In 9.15 we had flying introduced and the accessible eye level we have is much higher. So now as 9.2 goes live we are going to have the strongest raw gold making opportunities in the game since Warlords of Draenor. Here's an amazing easy trick to earn up to 800 gold in a minute or two. See these spouting growths that you get in Maldraxxus? Just fly around and pick all of them up. You have a high chance to get up to 280 gold right into your bags. That's real raw gold, no messing around with the auction house. And they will also put you 60% of the way towards the raw gold returns from completing the calling. And this can be done on every ult. That's how good raw gold is currently in Shadowlands. But as we'll discover, we can do a lot better than that. Now, the world quests in Shadowlands contain many slow and multi-layered quests, which are too time-consuming and or unpleasant to complete efficiently, especially on ults. So what I'm going to do in this guide is show you just how fast you can do callings by avoiding the quests that waste your time and how much more gold you can make as a direct result. In addition, I am going to show you some tricks to move between quests faster, how to glitch out some quests to do them super fast, and how to fix some of the broken ones. With some ults and maxing out every gold making quest and treasure, it is possible to make a normalized 50,000 gold per hour for short periods, with 18,000 to 30,000 gold per hour being sustainable for longer periods. Once you've weeded out all the worst quests, and you know all the tricks, it's actually pretty enjoyable and satisfying doing it. So here's a list of the fastest and simplest world quests. You can cut and paste it from the description below. These quests can all be done in under 2 minutes without any significant gear requirement. Now you need to know the quirks of some of these quests to complete them quickly. The most infamous quest in this list is Flight School Up and Away. There has been a persistent issue where players fall through the flowers they're meant to jump on, apparently an issue caused by server latency. There's a weird workaround for this, which transforms this quest from being virtually impossible to one of the easiest quests in the game. Before you jump onto the jet stream which starts the quest proper, mount up and fly to the end zone of the quest, and go through one of the golden feathers you will see there. This will give you a slow fall buff. This buff was designed to allow players to float to the starting quest area before flying was introduced to Shadowlands. The slow fall buff strangely prevents any issues with server latency and allows you to complete the quest very quickly. It is a 100% effective solution. Just a quick word here to say I can't reveal every gold making secret in this video because a lot of the tricks would get hotfixed if Blizzard knew about them. And those methods are posted on my Patreon, which I've linked to in the description below. For example, we have a method to port instantly to zones from Oribos, and a method to glitch out a quest in Maldraxxus to complete the callings there almost instantly.
I have made some modifications to my signature.
What was a very frustrating quest, Parasol Peril, can now be completely cheesed again because of the introduction of flying to Shadowlands. Simply fly onto the landing pad and click on the button, completing the quest in just over 30 seconds. That's literally the fastest world quest in the game. The Bastion quest, Flight School Flapping Frenzy, which was also plagued by issues in the past, now has an easy mode, which when taken makes this one of the fastest world quests.
For someone who does not have wings.
World boss quests are typically very fast to complete and have good rewards, but it is somewhat dependent on whether a group is forming. Some of these quests, like Light Defense, are somewhat dependent on being reasonably competent with the often clunky quest mechanics, but after a few tries you can usually get completion time down below a couple of minutes. Note that a lot of the first tier quests literally have 0 eye level requirement. For example, in this really quick quest, Winging It, you are just tapping one of 3 buttons in accordance with the on-screen text prompts. So how do you actually use this list? Either open your in-world map or go to the links on the screen in front of you. The web option is better because it allows you to access all the world quests on a single page without having to load different maps. Now, when you're considering whether it is worth doing callings at all on any given day, the first thing you need to consider is, can I double up on callings? For example, a world quest completed for a call to Ardenweald will also count towards training in Ardenweald. If this is the case, you probably want to complete those callings almost regardless of what quests are available, though there are theoretical situations where 3 really slow quests wouldn't be worth doing. It is highly recommended you stack callings whenever possible. Second, if it isn't possible to stack callings, you will probably need at least 1 first tier world quest and 1 second tier world quest for it to be viable. If you are experienced and have a reasonable eye level, 2 second tier quests is fine. Try to avoid doing callings with 2 quests not on the first or second tier. Your hourly gold rate will be lower than other basic forms of gold farming, so it is better to just do something else altogether in that situation. Now, there are certain other factors which may create exceptions for these rules. First, gear makes a huge difference to the speed of some of these quests on the second tier. For example, the quest A Spider on the Wall can be completed in under a minute by a player with eye level 240 gear. For a freshly dinged player with quest greens, you will struggle to do it in 5 minutes. The stealth aspect of this quest, by the way, is irrelevant in 9.2. Just fly to the circled NPCs and kill them. Second, very accessible treasures when contributing to a calling can make a huge difference, even if the world quests aren't attractive, as we'll cover in a second. Third, significant gold rewards can compensate to some extent for poorly designed quests. Finally, rare NPCs, at least for players with reasonable gear, may be a better alternative to some of the second and third tier quests. Now, the best way to complete callings which allow it is to use treasures. As with world quests themselves, don't waste time opening treasures which have multiple stages and or poor rewards. The best treasures to collect are the aforementioned sprouting growths in Maldraxxus. The fairy stashes in Ardenweald are also very good. Now, there's a special type of treasure which can be a little tricky if your eyesight isn't great like mine. In Maldraxxus, this is known as the bloated loot fly, and in Ardenweald, it's the cricket. Their mechanics are essentially the same. It's a small critter that isn't that easy to see from the air. If you need to, try this trick. Type /tar bloated loot fly, then put a skull marker on it as I'm showing here. This is actually the best way to find anything in Warcraft which you know is nearby, but can't actually see. It's really useful. Now, there are several other types of calling. We can dismiss the world quests in Korthia and Zereth Mortis, because this content is designed for an eye level closer to the current average. Consequently, these zones are not efficient for raw gold making. Obviously, you can make a lot of gold playing the auction house with materials there, but we're just talking about raw gold making in this video. Now, a quick word about the challenge callings, which require you to do a dungeon in a specific zone or complete a world quest in an area with a lot of elites. The fastest option here is to do a world quest in a group. If you don't have access to a group, this quest is not in itself terribly efficient, but it can be still worth doing solo with a decent gold reward and or if it contributes to another calling. There's a somewhat helpful exploit you can use with the Terrors of Tyrna Scythe quest. If you complete the Ardenweald questline up to the Cursed chapter, you get access to the NPC quest guardian Tyrnax, who is a pretty good tank, if only for the reason he literally cannot die, as I'm showing here. In theory, you could aggro a ton of mobs, then drop aggro, make a bacon fritter and courgette sandwich, and when you come back, Tyrnax will have completed the quest for you. The Revendreth Destroy the Dominant quest contains roses that give you a very powerful leech buff that cancels out a lot of the power of the elites you have to fight to complete this quest. You also get a bear. How cool is that? A fucking bear! The profits from all this are really pretty good for raw gold, probably superior to any raw gold rewards in the game since Warlords of Draenor. The callings alone provide an average vendor value of 1500 gold. And many of the quests award additional gold and or vendor weapons. There's also the Replenish the Reservoir quest, which can award 1600 gold. Then, for the truly hardcore who reach Exalted with the Covenant factions, there's the Paragon rewards, which award around 3,500 gold. Even without Paragon rewards, using the list method, it should be quite possible to make an average of around 3,000 gold per 10 minutes expended. Normalized to an hour, that represents 18,000 raw gold per hour. Maybe 25,000 gold for a sharp player, especially one with decent gear. You can increase your hourly gold rewards even higher, potentially up to 50,000 gold per hour or even more, but you'll have to be very selective, only doing callings when you can stack up multiples of them, and only doing the very best first and second tier world quests. There is a trade-off between your returns from raw gold per hour invested and the total raw gold you can generate in a month. To turn all the vendor items you get from callings and quests into gold, you'll need an add-on that will automatically sell these items when you talk to a vendor. I use the charmingly titled Crap Away and Auto Seller for this purpose. Callings in Torghast and the Moor are generally not that great in terms of gold per hour because of the limitations on player mobility in these areas. The Moor boss Morgeth sometimes has a quest reward of 1600 gold, and this is worth doing. You might want to look at my recent video on how to get to Morgeth in order to learn how to travel back and forth from the relevant zone efficiently. Now, as I mentioned previously, there's also a periodic 1600 gold reward for the quest to fill your Anima reservoir, and again this can be done concurrently with your callings, as Anima is frequently a quest reward. Note that when you hand in this quest, you don't actually lose the Anima, so in addition to the world quest, you can buy weapons and armor with the Anima, equip it to avoid the 2-hour buyback window, and then sell it back to the vendor, effectively making gold twice from the Anima that you earn from the quests. That said, there's a lot of other things you can do with the Anima. There's a trader here in Oribos who will exchange the Anima for valuable materials, and it can be also used for lucrative table missions. So think very carefully about whether you want to dump your Anima for raw gold. Finally, you get a small amount of the Valor currency from some world quests. There's a vendor here in Oribos which exchanges valuable materials for valor. Now, how do you travel from zone to zone quickly? It is basically essential to have engineering on all your alts for this one simple item, which so dramatically speeds up gold farming: the wormhole generator Shadowlands. For anyone who has ever used a wormhole generator in WoW before, it should be emphasized that this is a completely different type of item to past wormhole generators, which tended to port you somewhere random or had some weird side effects and or long cooldowns. The Shadowlands wormhole generator is way more useful than its predecessors. It offers you a choice of zones to port to, never fails, and has only a 15-minute cooldown. It instantly cuts out all the time flying between the Covenant zones and Oribos. There's actually an exploit you can use which makes this even more stupidly useful. Queuing for an arena and entering combat resets the cooldown on the generator, making for lightning fast travel. This will also reset many powerful cooldowns, allowing you to kill mobs more efficiently. If you are insanely fast at calling completion, there's another weird oddity of the wormhole generator, which just might be exploitable. The wormhole actually lasts 5 minutes. So if you can somehow complete all of the calling and hearth back to the location you use the port, it will still be there and you can use it again. There's a really advanced strategy you can use to get straight back to Oribos. If you go to any area on any map which is marked as the in-between and dismount your character, then you'll die and your character will be ported straight back instantly to Oribos, saving you several minutes of flying time. Now, obviously, the main point of using the list method is to make a lot of raw gold, but there's a weird side effect which I found really pleasant, which is that I no longer see doing world quests as a chore. It's really satisfying to fly into a zone and complete a quest in, under a minute or 2 minutes or whatever. It makes the game kind of fun and satisfactory, and obviously, I don't actually need the raw gold, I can just buy it. But I find myself just doing this as a mildly entertaining and psychologically satisfying way to play World of Warcraft, which I haven't really done with this type of grindy type quest or system before in Warcraft. I normally just avoid that altogether. Now, there's a lot of juicy, super secret gold making stuff I can't talk about in this video because it would definitely get hotfixed if I did, and that content is published exclusively on my Patreon. You'll also want to subscribe to this channel to get access to my amazing new leveling guide, which will show you how to level from 10 to 50 in 4 hours of playtime using a batch alt method. Thanks for watching. This has been Archvelder.